Good day. Today, I will report Introduction to Network Administration. First, we will discuss the overview of network components and architectures. So, network architecture refers to the design and structure of computer network. So, it includes the hardware, software, protocols, and communication technologies. So, the network components and architectures are essential in understanding how the data is transmitted across various devices and systems. Let's proceed to the next slide. So here's the overview of the key components and architectures. So first, we have devices or the nodes. So we have the computers or servers. So this is the end devices that send and receive the data. Next, we have switches. Switches is used to connect multiple devices within a local network area, directing data to the correct devices. So we also have routers as end devices. It connects to the different network like local area network to the internet and router between the data. Next is the modem. Modem is a modulate and demodulate signals. It is for transmission over the phone or phone lines, cable, and fiber optic connections. Last, we have firewalls. It is for security as a security devices. It monitor and control incoming and outgoing network traffic based on a security rules. So next we have the key components is the transmission media. We have two, which is wired and wireless. So when we say wired, it is a wireless wired connection that use or includes Ethernet cables like copper, fiber optics. It is faster and more secure to use as a to transfer data. Next, we have wireless connection or wireless transmission media. We use it for like Wi-Fi and cellular networks, satellites, also Bluetooth. Yan. We use it to connect devices wirelessly. Yan. Next is we have a protocol. So we have three protocols listed here. We have HTTP or HTTPS, DNS, and DHCP. So, DNS is converts domain names to IP. DHCP, this automatically assign IP addresses to the devices in the network. Last is the NICS, yeah, network interface cards. So this is the hardware that connect devices to the network. That's the key components of architecture. Next, we will proceed to the type of network architecture. So here, we will discuss the peer-to-peer advantages. Yan. Peer-to-peer, client-server, hybrid, cloud, and cloud architecture. Yan. So first, we will discuss the peer-to-peer. Next thing. So network architectures define how different devices and system are structured and how they are communicate. So here are the major types of network architecture. So peer-to-peer or P2P. So all devices are equal and they are communicate directly with each other without the need for a central server. So peer-to-peer, this is a small setup. It has a lower cost compared to the others. Yeah. So the disadvantage of peer-to-peer, it has a limited scalability and security risks. So use case of peer-to-peer is file sharing between devices, like in small home networks. Yeah. Next is we have client server. So devices are divided into a client and server. So client, it requests the service, and server, it provides the services or the resources that requested by client. So communication is centralized around the server. So we use client server like in web server, email server, and file server. So client server has a better security, scalability, and central management. So it has a disadvantages like dependency on the server. It can be costly and complex. Number three, Number three is hybrid. So it combines aspect of both P2P and client server. So this is the combination of peer-to-peer and client server model. So it has some part of network that may have centralized control while the other is decentralized. So it using large enterprises with both centralized and decentralized system. So in hybrid, it is flexible, it is scalability and efficient management. It's more efficient since it's combination of peer-to-peer and client server. So the disadvantage of this one is it can experience complexity in configuration. Next is cloud architecture. It uses a network of server in remote data center, often managed by third-party provider to offer services like computing, storage, and application. It's used in cloud computing and SaaS or software as services or service. Yeah. So in cloud architecture, it has a scalability, remote access, and cost efficiency. Then the disadvantage of this one is dependency on internet connectivity and potential security concern. Then that's all the types of network architecture. Now we will proceed the TCP or IP IP protocol suite, or the TCP or IP protocol suite. Yeah, sorry. Next slide is, yeah. So here, the TCP protocol suite is a set of communication protocol used for interconnecting devices on the internet and private network. So it provides the foundation of internet like uh, local area networks or LANs. Yeah. The TCP or IP stands for Transmission Control Protocol and Internet Protocol. So this is two key protocol in the suite, but the suite actually include a range of protocols that govern how data is transmitted, routed, and handled across the network. Right? So we have here the layer of TCP or IP. First layer, so we have four layers. This is the four layer of TCP IP. In the fourth layer, we have application layer. So this is the higher layer of the TCP IP model. It defines the protocol for user level interaction and provides services for application like web browsing, email, and file transfer. So protocol that is used in layer are HTTP or HTTP and HTTPS or FTP, SMTP. So like accessing in website, yeah, web browser. So in application layer, we used HTTP and HTTPS or the hypertext transfer protocol used for web browsing. Then FTP is used for transferring files between the devices. And SMTP is the simple mail transfer protocol. It is used for sending emails. So the DNS or the domain name system. So it revolves humans readable domain names like unique Like in the upper part of the search bar, yan, yung www.example.com. Yeah. The next is the layer 3, the transport layer. It is responsible for end-to-end communication. So it ensures that the data is delivered correctly and reliable between the devices. So it handles the data segmentation and reassembly or reassemble the data. So it has used with two types of protocol, the UDP and the TCP. Yeah. So the UDP is the user datagram protocol. So it is a connectionless protocol that used for um, yeah. So the UDP is a connectionless protocol. So it's used for fastest but less reliable communication. It's typically used in application where the speed is more important than reliability. Then the TCP, yeah, the transmission control protocol, it is a connection-oriented protocol. So it ensures the reliable data transfer through acknowledgement and retransmission. So it guarantees the data arrives in order without error. So unlike the UDP is focused only on the faster delivering the data, while the TCP, it has a reliable and secure communication between the devices. So it secure the data that it will deliver without error. Next is the internet layer or the layer 2, internet layer. So this layer is responsible for logical addressing, routing, and packet forwarding. It determines how data is routed from the source device to the destination across multiple networks. So in this layer, they use protocol like IPv4 and IPv6 and ICMP. So the main protocol in this layer is responsible for addressing and routing packet. So it assigns unique IP address to the device and determines that how the packets forwarded from one device to another. So in IPv4 or the fourth version of IP, it used with 32-bit addresses. Then the sixth version of IP, it used 128-bit addresses to accommodate larger address space. While the ICMP or the Internet Control Message Protocol, this is used for error reporting and diagnostic. So that's the internet layer or the layer 2. Next is link layer, layer 1. This is the lowest layer in TCP IP model. So it defines the data physically transmitted over the network media. Wireless or wired network media yung gamit dito. Yan. So it deals with hardware addressing, yan, like MAC addresses, yan. And the actual transfer for bits across the physical network protocol is used internet and Wi-Fi. So the common for wired LANs handling how devices on local network communicate over the physical cable. So Wi-Fi is for wireless network. Then ARP is addressed resolution protocol. So the map IP address is the physical for MAC addresses. So that's the layer of TCP IP. We have a application layer, transport layer, then internet layer and link layer. Next is network models of OSI and TCP. So OSI has a seven layer, while TCP/IP has a four layer. Okay. So first, we will discuss the OSI model. So what is OSI model? So this is called an open system interconnection model. So the conceptual framework developed by International Organization for Standardization, which is the ISO. So it provides a universal standard for network communication by dividing the network process into seven distinct layers. So each layer is responsible for specific functions that is related to communication between the devices in the networks. So now we will tackle the the seven layer of OSI model and the four layers of TCP/IP model. First, the layer is the physical layer. So it deals with the physical transmission of raw data over the network, or network medium like wires, cables, wireless, and etc. This layer defines the electrical signals or light signals or radio waves like Ethernet cables, fiber optics, and wireless radio waves. So the physical layer 2 is signal encoding, yan, data transmission over the physical media, and establishing the physical connection, okay, since it is a physical layer. So next is the data link layer. Same as in TCP/IP, the link layer. So it's responsible for node-to-node data transfer and error detection and correction. It packages raw bit from physical layer into frames and adds the MAC address or the media access control address. So it's framing and error detection. It can access the MAC address, ayan, access control to the shared media. So that's the data link layer. It is the one who is responsible for transferring data and detect an error and correct the error, check the error. Next is network layer. This one is for routing packets, data packets from source to the destination across the network. So it handles logical addressing or the IP addresses and determine the best path for data travel. So this one is the example of this one is the IP or the network, the internet control, the internet protocol. And it is can do a routing like in addressing, packet forwarding, and fragmentation. Then in transport layer, it ensures the end-to-end communication between the devices. It provides error recovery, flow control, and ensuring data is delivered in the correct order. Example, the two model, which is the TCP and UDP protocol. So here in transport layer, segmentation and error recovery, yan, it has a flow control and reliable and unreliable data delivery. So why transport layer has a unreliable data delivery? Because it used UDP. It has reliable data, can deliver the reliable data because of the TCP. Okay. Next is session layer. The fifth layer is session layer. So here, this one, it manages the session between the communication devices. It establishes and maintains and terminates connection, ensuring the data that can be properly synchronized. So here, example here is the RPC or the remote produce call. and SMB, the server message and block. So here in session layer, it process the session management, synchronization, dialogue, dialogue control, or the full duplex or half duplex. Yeah. It can send and receive data at same time. It can, when we say half duplex, it can only receive or send. Cannot do simultaneously when it comes to half duplex. But when it comes to full duplex, the data can receive and send by the end devices. Next is the layer 6. Layer 6 is presentation layer. It ensures that the data sent by the application layer of the system can be read by the application layer of another system. It handles data translation, encryption, and compression. So here in presentation layer, example of this is the SSL or TLS, the encryption protocol. Yan. So the data format translation. Yan. So here the key test of this one is the data translation, encryption, and compression of the data. Or the last layer is the closest layer to the end user. It provides the network services directly to application. It enables communication between software, application, and network. So the last layer is application layer. So in TCP, it has also its application layer. So this is the last layer. So this is the seventh layer in OSI, while in TCP, this is the first layer of TCP. So here in application layer, so like what I've said earlier, so the example of this one is HTTP or the HTTPS. So we use it in when we search, yeah, or we visit the website. You can see that one. Then FTP or the file transfer protocol when we transfer or share data through other devices. This is SMTP and or simple mail transfer protocol. Then this is the data generation for communication network services is for use of the application like web browsing, email, transferring to the other end devices and etc. So this is the seventh layer of OSI model. So we have first layer, physical layer. Second is data link layer. Third is the network layer. Fourth is transport layer that also has the TCP IP. Fifth is session layer. Sixth is the presentation layer. And last is the application layer. Next is the TCP IP model or transmission control protocol. So the TCP IP model, so this is the simplified of OSI model. So those 7 layer, this is the simplified form of TCP IP. Since the OSI has a 7 layer in TCP, it only has a 4 layer. Okay. So this one is focused on practical protocols that are used in the internet communication and it basis for modern internet. Next is, yeah. So we also discussed this last in the other slides, yeah. So this is the 4 layers, the TCP IP, so application layer. So it corresponds to the application, presentation, and session layers in the OSI model. So this is the of equivalent layer in the OSI model. So the application, presentation, and session is included here in the application layers. So this layer provide high-level protocols for application communication. Yeah, this is the example that I said earlier. Yeah. Then second is the transport layer. It corresponds to the transport layer in the OSI model. So it ensures the end-to-end communication and reliable transmission or data transmission and manage the flow control and error correction on, and retransmission the data. So here, the example in transport layer is the UDP and TCP that can deliver data with reliable data and unreliable data transmission. Okay? Since we use protocol, the UDP and TCP, we will experience the unreliable data by the use of UDP, and TCP is for reliable data. Next is the internet layer. So this one is correspond for the network layer in the OSI model. So this layer handles logical addressing or the IP or routing of packets between the network. So example here is the IPv4, IPv6, ICMP. So the task in internet layer is key task is the addressing, routing, and packet forwarding. The in internet layer, the packet forwarding happens. Then the network interface layer. So this is the layer 1 in TCP/IP. Correspond the data link and physical layer. So in OSI model, it defines the physical transmission of data over the network, including data is framed and transmitted over different physical medium or media. So that's the 4-layer of TCP/IP model. So here are the pictures or the figure that describe the OSI and TCP/IP model. So here, application layer, presentation layer, and session layer correspond to the application layer in TCP/IP model. Transport layer correspond to transport layer in TCP/IP. Network layer is correspond to the internet layer in TCP/IP model. Then data link layer and physical layer in OSI model correspond to the network access layer in the TCP/IP model. So that's the model, OSI model and TCP/IP model. Now let's proceed to the last topic in this report. So we have network configuration tools. So we will discuss the configuration commands. Not all commands, but some commands that we will use or we use in configuration. So now we have here the network configuration and troubleshooting tools. So these are essential for ensuring that networks run smoothly and efficiently. So they help network administrators configure devices, manage network settings, and diagnose issue when network problems arise. Here are the list some widely used network configuration and troubleshooting tools. So it is important to use or to configure because configuring we will be aware what's the problem of our system or our devices. Okay, then next, so network configuration tools. So these tools are used to configure, monitor, and manage network settings or IP addresses, interface, and other devices on a network. So in IP configuration tools, we have ipconfig. Okay, ipconfig, so display the current network configuration details of Windows computer, such as IP addresses, subnet mask, default gateway, and more. It allows you to release a new DHCP list. So this is the common command that used in ipconfig. This common command when we use the ipconfig, so display basic network configuration, display the when we use ipconfig, all \all display the detailed configuration information. when ipconfig /release, so it releases the current IP address. And when we use ipconfig /renew, it requests a new IP address from the DHCP server. Next is ifconfig. This one is for Linux. The ipconfig is for Windows. So similar to ipconfig, used to display a network interfaces on Linux and macOS system. So here, so you can read the common commands that we use in ifconfig. Sorry, ifconfig, so display the active network interface. Ifconfig, it Ethernet 0 up activated. And when if config eth0 or Ethernet 0 down, it deactivates the interface. So we have Netsh, yeah, for Windows. So this is a command line tool used for configuring various network components, such as interfaces, firewalls, firewall setting, and network interfaces on Windows system. Next is the DNS configuration tools. So DNS configuration tools, we have here NSLOOKUP and dig for Linux. So NSLOOKUP or Windows and Linux command line tools to query the DNS server for information about the domain names and their associated IP addresses. So in dig for Linux or Mac OS, similar to the excuse me, NSLOOKUP. So it has a different, but it offers more flexibility and output option for querying DNS records. So for the routing configuration tools, so route for Linux and Windows, and traceroute for Linux and Mac OS, or tracert for Windows. Yeah. So for route in Windows and Linux, so display and modify the IP routing table in system. While in traceroute or route tracert for Windows, it traces the route's packet take from the source to the destination, helping identify where the delays or packet losses are occurring. So it identifies why we have experienced the delay using Ethernet in our devices. Number 2 is for network troubleshooting tools. So this is primarily used for diagnosing and solving network-related problems, such as connectivity issues, performance issues, or misconfigured settings. So we use ping. This one is most commonly used for basic tools to test the connectivity between the devices. So it sends echo request to the target and waits for an ICMP echo reply. So it determines the device reachable on the network. Then next is the trace route or tracer, used to track the paths packet take the reach destination. It helps diagnose routing problems and identify where the packets are delayed or lost on network. So in network troubleshooting, we have ping and trace route used for tools troubleshooting. Next is NetStat or network statistics. So this tool displays the active connection, open ports, and routing tables. So it's used to check the open port, identify the established connection, and troubleshoot the network if there is an issue. Okay. So we use NetStat for troubleshooting the network if there's an issue and if the connection is established. Okay. Wireshark. So this Wireshark is network protocol analyzer. This one is capture the network packets in real time. So allowing network administrators to inspect the data flowing through the network. It is very useful for identifying issues such as low performance, drop packets, or unauthorized network traffic. So sometimes we experience or madalas, yeah, na English na madalas. Sometimes or Yun, in English mo. Yeah. So, slow performance sa internet natin, yan. Drop packets and unauthorized network traffic. So, kung bakit bumabagal yung ating connections. Yan. And map, yeah, network mapper. This tools is used for network discovery and security auditing. So it helps identify active devices on the network, open port services running on those ports, even the operating system of remote devices. Next is the Telnet SSH, Telnet or SSH or the secure shell. This one is remotely connect to the network devices such as routers, switches, and server for management and troubleshooting. So Telnet is less secure than SSH because it's being phased out. So SSH is preferred choice for securing remote access. So papping, papping or Windows. Yan. So, combine ping and trace route. So, the combination of ping and trace route called path ping. So, it functionally showing both the route to the destination and the packet loss statistic along the way. And Netcat, or the NC, is the versatile networking tool used open for testing connections, sending the raw data, or creating a simple network server for client or client. Next is the TCP dump. So TCP dump is a command line packet capture tools used to capture and analyze network traffic. So it's similar to Wireshark, but is used in terminal or shell environment. So number 3 is the other useful tool. So the speed test and Wi-Fi analyzer. So when we say speed test, it is an online or app to check the speed of an internet, include including download, upload, and the ping time. So in Wi-Fi Analyzer, this tool is also available both in mobile app and desktop software. So it used to analyze the Wi-Fi networks, and it helped to optimize the Wi-Fi performance by identifying interference or the poor signals area. So we use this one to identify if our connection is has a um, problem or has a why it has a slow connection. So we can use it by downloading in our mobile app or our desktop software. So that's the network troubleshooting tools that we used. So network configuration and troubleshooting tools are critical for maintaining the health and performance of networks. So whether you need to configure the IP or the IP addresses or for checking connectivity issues, it identifies network bottleneck or the secure remote devices. So these tools play an integral role in ensuring smooth network. So it's very important to configure to troubleshoot our network. So by utilizing by using these tools, the network administrators can efficiently diagnose problems and ensure that the network services are consistently available and reliable. So that's the end of the discussion. Hope you understand with this presentation. Thank you.